It is time to expand minds through movies, TV, sports, and flicks. It is time to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. It is time for the Captain Talks Flicks.
The Captain Talk Flicks.
Welcome to the Captain Talk Flicks podcast. I'm your host, Captain Cortez, aka Mr. Love, and this is where we talk flicks. And ladies and gentlemen, this past week, we went back to outer space. We went back to Starfleet. Let me get to that first couple things. I want to give a big shout out to the Czech Republic. Got some plays over in the Czech Republic this past week. Gotta see his gratitude, total robot. And Czech Republic, I saw you guys have a festival called Rock for People that takes place over there. Looks phenomenal. I saw the lineup, looks great. Maybe one of these days I have to fly over there and check that festival out. So yeah, thanks. Let's appreciate you guys. Awesome. And additionally, this episode is brought to you by the album called Elder Flows. Yeah, it's been out since 2022 by the one and only Sun Tsukazu. But this time it is on vinyl. So go get the album. I'll put it below. Check it out. Now, let's get on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, class is in session. So this past week, I saw episode 2 of Starfleet Academy. And after the first episode where we saw all the not so nice happenings that started the journey of the young man Caleb, we bring ourselves to present day and we see that Caleb is currently enrolled in Starfleet Academy. Kind of reminds me when I was in college. Very similar, but not. And we get to see the inner working of diplomatic negotiations. We get to see the nuance of just classes and session. It kind of reminisces of Deep Space Nine. Yeah, now I said that. There's some of you hardcore Trekkers like, no way, it's not like Deep Space Nine. Yes, initially, first reaction, like the first half hour, it did to me have Deep Space Nine vibes, and I was here for it. Yeah, so it does feel very Deep Space Nine-ish. And there was even some Easter eggs. They're now serving Raccagino in the cafe. Yeah. And if you know Deep Space Nine, they're drinking Raccagino like all the time. So yeah, I had these Deep Space Nine vibes. And let me just say this. I know the first episode I kind of went over like, the elephant room. But I'm going to say right now what I said at the end of the last podcast. This show is going to be a hit. I was loving it. It's phenomenal. I always wanted to see how Starfleet Academy would operate. And I feel this is a good starting point. They're starting fresh, but also paying tribute to the old. Now, if you haven't followed the new Trek, there was a scenario where this burn happened that affects, the Federation in a major catastrophic way, right? The old Starfleet that we knew when we were coming up, like the Picard and DS9 and Janeway, it was all shifted to change because of this major occurrence they got into in Discovery. They talked about that. And now they're trying to recover from that burn. And in the process, they have to just build back and get back to where they were prior to the burn. And like I said in the last podcast, they had lost their way a little bit because of that. Sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of it. But these things happen in real life, historically, and in fiction, apparently. So yeah, we see Starfleet in the workings. It was the first class back in San Francisco on Earth in like 100 years, I said. Like, yeah, it's the vibe of the show is cool. I'm loving the characters. I'm loving her number one. She's half Klingon, and those guys that were the enemies in Deep Space Nine that came from the other dimension. I can't remember the name right now. Yeah, she's a phenomenal character. She's quoting those great Klingon lines, right? And then even the captain or the chancellor, the lady, she's phenomenal. She's walking around like Starfleet with bare feet. Like, this is just blowing my mind. Now, in current culture, currently, there's a thing called grounding. They say walk with bare feet and things is better for you. It's a human, the energy, all this. And she's basically citing that right in the episode. So, walk around with bare feet. I've gotten a paperwork for it. Like, it was just so funny because we had this disciplined war college guy, and he's commenting on her, walk around bare feet, and she already did her homework. She's ready for an answer already. And so this chancellor is just kind of like very, very untraditional, and then maybe this is what Starfleet needs currently. Now, we really don't get to see Starfleet, the inner workings of how it really operates. A lot of times over the years, we saw Picard and we saw various other, iterations of it, and they were always breaking protocol all the time. Like, in space, always, we gotta have to break protocol, we have to defy their prime directive. but we didn't really get to see the training and how they came up. Now, in life in general, and this goes back to my reading and studying, I'm going to use the martial arts, for example, as there's one guy I followed who I thought was a very knowledgeable practitioner of martial arts. And he would say, like, basically, when you're first coming up, you have to learn the basics, learn all the rules and the basics. And then once you acquire them, you throw them all out the window, just start doing your own thing and start just kind of being in your own style, your own vibe. And I even use rapping hip hop also. When I first started doing this, I did emulate other people's styles. I was listening to my older stuff and I did that. But then once you start to get the skill set and get skilled, you develop your own style and just got your own technique. And this is basically what this chancellor's doing. So she's been through the whole rank and everything, done everything she had to do, and now she's the chancellor. It's been years in Starfleet. She is a very well-seasoned Starfleet, personnel person. And she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this because I feel this is gonna work best. And so she's trying unconventional methods with herself and also the students. The way that Caleb came in, it was untraditional, but she was saying he's just as effective as some of these other guys. Now I'm also gonna say this. Now, if you study intelligence in the history of the CIA is the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America. And when they first came up, they would, get a lot of guys from Yale and Harvard, these really well-educated, kind of males, mostly males. And that was the kind of people that got in there. And, that was for the time, fine. But as they grew older and time passed, they started getting unconventional, not unconventional, but just different walks of life in that space, different people that they felt would help the mission better. Now, it seems like this is the approach that she's taken on, the Chancellor. And she's, unconventional humans that may not fit the standard old model, but they still have skill sets nonetheless. Now, in my personal life, I know humans that do not fit into a certain protocol that we would think as intelligent or skillful or words like that. But these are some phenomenal humans. They're talking on a regular basis. They're very knowledgeable about many things, many different skill sets that their place in life and in their position, you might not think they'd have this. In fact, I know tons of people that will be considered maybe not skilled. And this is not my thing, but some of these other human beings and perceived higher statuses with higher certificates and abilities might look down on some of these humans and say, oh, they don't have skills. But when you get to know them, what they do, what they spend their days doing, how they operate, what they know about, these humans have a lot of skills that I know. They just don't have the paperwork or traditional path to get there. Now, it does look like Starfleet is taking into consideration and taking these humans and put them into school and let them train amongst the other, quotation mark, better trained or regularly trained people, which is phenomenal. Because just because someone didn't take that path, like I said last episode, like about Tulsa as well, is you still may have skills that can be effective and help Starfleet with their mission to achieve what they're trying to achieve. So this show so far is phenomenal. I'm loving it. I love the little nuanced details of the college and how it works, the different classes they have, the teacher, the kid dynamic. It is taking me back when I was in school. Some of the scenes with Caleb reminds me of myself, actually. In fact, I will say this. Caleb himself does remind me a lot about myself, current and in the past. I do have a lot of tendencies and attributes to kind of align with him as a human being. Interesting enough, I always think I cannot watch college stuff or things with younger people because I can't relate. This is what I do. I really do relate a lot to this Caleb when it's very unexpected because I wouldn't thought I would be able to. So far, as a veteran Trek fan, I will say that this show is phenomenal. To me, I haven't talked to anybody else online or in real life to know what the old school guys are thinking. But I'm just going to say this right now. I think it's phenomenal. And let me say one other thing as well. Now, I love Trek. I know a lot of the history, all the Easter eggs, all the Easter eggs, said the Rakotino. I know this because I saw Deep Space Nine. Some may not. And it's fine. But let me just say this real quick. I have a woman, which I talk about a lot on this podcast. I've been dating for a while. This is my lady, this is my chick, this is my wife, I suppose, whatever, right? And she's not a huge fan of Star Trek. She doesn't hate it, but she's never very familiar with it other than, this. Everyone knows Beam Me Up Scotty, Captain Kirk, all this kind of thing. But me and my lady watched both episodes. And she was loving the show and she was into it. And she's not faking it. Like, this show is really well crafted that a hardcore Trek fan like me can enjoy it. And I can sit down with a non-Trekkie, my chick, and she's digging it. This is what the franchise needs, right? Now, we Trek fans love this show, right? But we need other people to join our fandom and understand and appreciate how great it is. And this, I feel, is a good entry point for someone that's not well versed in the Trek lore to start. Because this is taking place after all the Picard stuff and the burn and the whole Federation is different and they're starting from scratch and rebuilding. Why at the time taking lessons from the past to rebuild this? I feel it's really well done. Now I see it's got the tomato score, which is good. As a lover of cinema and a Trek fan, I feel this is really well done. Like I said last episode, you mark my words, this show will be a hit. I guarantee it again. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're a man or a woman and you're a Trekkie, but your lady or man is not, have them watch this. They will like it. No, they will. I just feel it. If my girl can, your girl or man probably will. So ladies and gentlemen, Starfleet is phenomenal. Loving the story, love to see the school. I wish I could go there. I know I'm 50 years old, who cares? I'll go Starfleet Academy. I'll become a captain. One other thing too, I've had a Starfleet Academy shirt for like 5-6 years. Because I just like Starfleet Academy, the logo, but I wasn't a fan. But now all of a sudden the show is here. And I bought it before there was even going to be a show, bro. I've just been a deep fan forever. All types of Star Trek t-shirts. I'm real in the field, baby. I'm a big, huge fan. But anyways, Starfleet Academy is finally here, and let's see the stories that will be told. I'm totally excited. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to this podcast and you're a Trek fan, which I see some of you guys, I know some of you guys, and I know you are. Some of you regulars, I know you're Trek fans. I'm sure you're excited about it as well. We probably think alike. But if you're just discovering this podcast for the first time, you've heard nothing else I've ever said. Let me just tell you this right now. Go way back to when I was real young. I've seen every episode of Trek, except for the cartoon that came out a couple years ago. And I love the show. I feel it's entertaining. I feel it's positive. I've learned a lot from watching the show over the last 25, 30 years. It's really well done. And it is my favorite franchise in the universe. And I highly recommend that you watch any Star Trek at all. But if you've never seen it, this probably would be a good way to enter. And once you get to see how awesome it is, you probably will go back and revisit everything. You know, the 60s, Captain Kirk, Picard in the 80s, 90s, and Cisco in the 80s, 90s, and Janeway in the 80s, 90s, and Archer, you know, the 2000s, right? And the Kelvin universe movies, yeah. And then Discovery, Michael Burnham, right? And then Pike and the Strange New Worlds, and the cartoon Lower Decks, right? And the short treks, bro. Cartoon from the 70s. And Nickelodeon, like, oh, this is good entertainment. I promise you, you'll want to be beamed up. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will say that Starfleet Academy is phenomenal once again, and you should definitely watch this show. So go over to Paramount, watch Star Trek. Hey, while you're there, watch fights. UFC's there too. Watch MMA. That's one of my favorite things as well. MMA's there. Watch some MMA. Watch the fights. Watch Star Trek. Watch some of the other countless awesome things they have there. Now, look, I don't own the company. I do have stock, like I said, but generally, I would say there's a lot of fine shows over at Paramount. But of course, Star Trek is there. And like I said back in 2017, when you can check the receipts, go to the episodes, you'll see it. I had said, 1716, when this new Star Trek show comes out, I will be where it's at. And I've kept my word. Wherever Trek's at, I'm there. They are currently at Paramount Plus, and I'm still there. I was at CBS All Access. I was watching on TV. I will go where Trek's at, and that's where Trek's at. So that is where I'm at. Wherever Trek's at, this is my main spot. Most of the stuff I watch is on this platform because that's where Trek's at. Home of Trek, the greatest franchise on planet Earth. And what's all said and done, I'm 100 years old, and all these franchises have been around. I guarantee you, it is Star Trek that's going to sit on top. I guarantee it. This franchise is phenomenal. It's unstoppable. 60 years this year, bro. We keep on doing it. The community is strong, and I love all you guys. Anyways, thanks for listening. This concludes the podcast. And until next time, we'll see you. Live long and prosper. Spock. Until next time, Captain B.
The Captain Talks.